Getting to know prospects. Developing any relationship, even a temporary one, is a process, something that takes time and effort. Trying to force or manipulate a relationship into a specific time frame can backfire and cause one or both of the parties involved to abruptly exit the relationship. In order to successfully cultivate trust as a lead agent, you need to invest a reasonable amount of time in the process by asking the right questions of your prospects in the right ways. Just as important as asking questions, however, is being patient and listening to the rich information that comes your way in the form of answers. Conducting yourself professionally and understandingly instills confidence and trust in your conversational counterpart, the foundation upon which powerful business relationships are built. Putting together a list of questions before your call is essential. That's because your strategy begins with determining what information you need. When it comes to building rapport with a prospect, you want to build credibility quickly and appropriately set the stage. The primary key to establishing a relationship is to shift the focus onto the client and keep that focus on that client and not on yourself. You'll find that as you shift and maintain that focus, you'll be able to well determine what you need about the prospect. To make your first meeting with the prospect go more smoothly, we offer 3 suggestions. First, ease into the conversation with warm-up questions. Asking about problems at the beginning of the call can be riskily premature unless the prospect has volunteered information beforehand. Although some reps like to open with questions about the weather, the latest sports results, or make a verbal reference to an object of nearness or dearness to the prospect, these are overused by the traditionally trained, plus they're stale. Warm-up questions are open-ended, broad in scope, and focused on getting the prospect to talk about themselves. Examples of good warm-up questions can include, how long have you been looking for or at opportunities? How has your career evolved over the last few years? What would you say your personal strengths are relative to your career? Your weaknesses? If those in business who know you were to describe you, what words do you think they'd use? Listen to the words given and then respond, well, the word thus and such is a good one. Could you please elaborate on that one for me? What would people say are the reasons they most enjoy doing business with you? Examples of additional warm-up questions exist in other portions of the C.A.R.S material. Our second suggestion about making your first prospect meeting go smoothly is make sure you bring along a notepad or steno pad and write down the information given you by your prospective agent. People are gratified when you make brief notes of what they say. Capture any and all critical information before it escapes your conscious cranial holding or short-term staging area. You'll want to listen for certain key words and the underlying emotions used to express those words. After you jot those words down, it's much easier to go back at a later point and get the prospect to elaborate. These same techniques equally apply whether talking to the prospect in person or on the phone. With regard to making your first prospect meeting go smoothly, our third suggestion is remove any assumptions you may have about this prospect and their problems. You mostly know only as much about the prospect as they're telling you. Now, while you may be able to draw upon your own experience and make reasonable extrapolations regarding this type of person, you'll want to be sure not to let such thoughts color your regard for the person or prevent you from hearing how they say what they say. Here are some examples of questions you can ask about the prospect's past. What would you say is different about your business or professional life today compared to 10 years ago? What originally led you down the career path you took? What were your expectations when you began, followed by, do you feel those expectations have been met? Have they changed since you started out? What have been some of the biggest hurdles you faced? As you look back on your career, what has given you the greatest sense of accomplishment? What have been your greatest or toughest challenges? If you could repeat certain portions, which would they be and what would you do differently? What sort of trends in business and society have particularly caught your attention, and why? The first meeting is a great place to find prospect problems because that means uncovering opportunities. Between the balance beam, those ends of pain and pleasure, prospects are more motivated to fix their problems than to pursue pleasure. This means that you should dig for problems and center your questions on problems whenever you can. Great reps realize the value of becoming trusted business advisors who can help prospects evaluate the current situation and take meaningful action so a current set of problems doesn't get worse or before a potential problem erupts. Human nature has us all possess a preference to stay put, i.e., don't fix what isn't broken, leave well enough alone, and similar catchphrases all apply. The most effective reps, though, ask the right questions to open the minds of their prospects and get them to think about the risks of staying within their current comfort zone. You should never point out a problem to your prospects. They should always discover it for themselves as they reflect on the answers they give to your questions. Here are some great problem questions to ask. Share with me your 3 biggest challenges. Of these 3, which one is the most pressing? What problems are you currently experiencing and why? What's causing these problems? Can you give me an example? What barriers are in your way? What's working? What's not and why? How long have you been experiencing this problem? What results are you currently getting? What kind of results would you like to get in the future? If you could turn back time, what would you change? Everyone has to deal with change. What's the biggest change you're encountering? What challenges is this presenting? On a scale of 1 to 10, what changes would you like to see brought about? Of the different types of questions, those beginning with why best allow you to understand the motives of your prospects. Prospects act based on all sorts of emotions and motivations, including fear, self-interest, desires to increase revenue, and many more. Being able to uncover motives brings you valuable insight into what stimulates each prospect to action. This knowledge then allows you to craft individualized dialogue with each prospect. Getting information on motives can sometimes be tricky, though. If you, for example, simply ask why repeatedly like a curious 4-year-old, your dialogue will soon lose effectiveness as your conversational partner will likely get annoyed or be offended. The question samples here that we provided here give you opportunity to probe deeper and better understand what's motivating a client. What's prompting your interest in a career change? What's driving the need for this sort of change? What originally led you to begin looking? Can you walk me through the steps that led you to this conclusion? What are you seeking to accomplish? Can you share with me what's motivating your decision to change careers? Why is that important to you? What's prompting you to consider taking action? What's in it for you to make this sort of change? If you can turn the corner on this, what will it mean to you? If you're not able to achieve the result you seek, what concerns do you have? How might failing to achieve this personally affect you? There is much that can be learned once you establish rapport with your prospect, some of it crucial to determining if their character worth in becoming a cash card agent and instrumental in helping to confirm the prospect's pain. Knowing that will help you best translate that pain into a decision. The upcoming questions are for the individual who may become an agent with whom you deal on a day-to-day basis. Where do they live? What kind of car do they drive? Are they married? Do they have children? Do they have grandchildren? What stands out in their upbringing and family life? Where were they educated? What degrees do they hold? Where else have they lived? What do they do for hobbies and recreation? Where are their favorite places to vacation? What passions or personal causes do they have? What are their core values and beliefs? What's their current job or situation? If currently employed, what are their present responsibilities? What was their previous employment? Why did they leave their last job? What were their responsibilities? What are their earnings? For what portion of the company's earnings are they responsible? Who reports to them and to whom do they report? How much influence do they appear to have in the company? Are they inside or outside of the inner circle at the company? Is their present position solid? What changes to their present employment do they anticipate? How good are they at what they do? Are they looking for or considering positions elsewhere? Are they genuinely concerned about how well Cash Card will work for them, or is there another motive? How personally important is it to them that the best possible solution be found? One of the toughest tasks that you can face is to discover the amount of money your prospect has available for becoming a Cash Card agent. Yet without probing the topic, you could easily fail to qualify the prospect on a very fundamental requirement, that is, determine if the prospect can afford the Cash Card front-end fees, potentially wasting both your time and the prospect's time if this matter is not addressed upfront or early on. This line of approach also tells you if the money is there without making you come off as intrusive or manipulative. Appropriate questions and approaches are also usable when establishing your verbal upfront agreement with the prospect and or getting the money topic out of the way right away and the first thing up front. Here are some steps, sub-steps, and qualifiers we recommend related to this matter of financially qualifying the prospect. First, before you probe available funding, review the prospect's pain. The best transition into a budget discussion is to reinforce the reason that you're there, which is removing the prospect's career or income pain. Summarize the pain, then confirm that the prospect is willing to pay for its removal. Let's see if I have this right, Ed. You said that the main reasons you're looking to change careers are 1, 2, and 3. Is that correct? Secondly, ask the money question. In a matter-of-fact, cordial tone, open the discussion with this non-threatening question. Do you have funds set aside for the Cash Card upfront fees? If the answer is no, respond with a softening statement to validate the prospect, followed by a question to initiate the budget question. Well, that's not unusual. Have you given thought to how you plan on moving forward? Money's tight these days, that's for sure. Have you outlined where the necessary upfront funds might be coming from? If the answer to the money question is yes, move forward with inquiring on when the prospect wants to sign up. That's good to know, Ed. Is there anything which would prevent you from signing up now? If the prospect seeks to counter with an offer of an amount that's too low, well, that could be a problem. This response opens dialogue on the funds available topic for further discussion. Consider these additional questions when the amount proposed by the prospect is too low. Would you then be more interested in the down payment with monthly payments? Allow for a response. Do you think Cash Card's done enough to enable you to get into business as an agent? Or do you think that your financial situation won't permit you to proceed as a Cash Card agent? Or when we began our discussion, I recall that you said you were aware of the upfront financial requirements to become an agent and that those would pose no problem. Has your situation changed? Or do you feel as though you're really committed to allowing Cash Card to improve the things for you it can? A crucial and pivotal point in the money discussion is a question you can ask yourself. If you really like the idea of bringing this prospect on board as an agent, are you willing to pay for some of their enrollment fees for them? Lastly, might you be able to get the prospect enrolled if you simply give them one or more components of the agent package? If this is the situation in which you find yourself, you'll need to identify those agent sign-on items and add your own funds to those the prospect is offering. NABCA does not permit Cash Card to adjust or discount enrollment fees. Avoiding prospect abuse. With regard to your discussions with the prospect, it's only fair that we bring out one aspect of the two-sided nature of prospect dialogue, and that is you can occasionally be subjected to verbal abuse and derision at the hands of an insincere prospect. As Eleanor Roosevelt once stated, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Psychologists tell us that without knowing it, we actually encourage many of the most frustrating and irritating acts others commit toward us. That's what enabling means, reinforcing the very behavior we want a person to end. Some of your prospects may be leading you along, refusing to return your calls, or treating you disrespectfully with your help. When you stop doing the things here listed, you'll start gaining more respect and getting to the bank more often. First, don't give prospects free consulting. Should prospects get all the information they need to make an informed decision? Always. Should they use you as an unpaid consultant? Never. Do help prospects discover that you can help them solve their problems and that they need you to help them resolve problems. Don't show them completely how until they become agents on your team. They have enough to learn right here, right now on the front end of C.A.R.S. Although there can be sometimes a fine line between showcasing and over-explaining, there is never a need to pre-train prospects. Secondly, don't tolerate open-ended indecisiveness that, other than circles, leads nowhere. Never forget, your cash card offer is a solid, profitable, productive one based in part on continuity of action on the part of all involved with it. If prospects believe that you'll hang around indefinitely and they're in no hurry to make up a decision, you will end up hanging around indefinitely, and that's just an aspect of prospect human nature. Instead, use upfront agreements, UFAs with prospects, part of which address and cover the terms of how long you're willing to hang around. If you haven't done this and a presentation cycle is beginning to drag, impose your limit at that point to see whether you have a truly interested prospect. Thirdly, don't let your offer be demeaned. Some prospects will minimize C.A.R.S as well as what you do and what you offer. If you allow that to pass without challenge, you're reinforcing the notion that you're just another unimportant, nameless, faceless rep with an offer no better than anyone else's. If you don't show respect for your profession, your company, and your offer, who will? Fourth, don't let your company be demeaned. Stand up for the integrity, competence, and commitment of your team. Prospects who demean your company to your face are saying even more to others behind your back. Your loyalty should not be lost on those sorts of prospects. Fifth, don't enable prospects to put you in ethical or legal dilemmas. Should you bend over backwards to get a transaction or to sign up the right agent? Certainly. Should you marshal all the resources at your disposal to make the prospect happy? You bet. But don't ever let that mean that you compromise your integrity or sell your soul.